If you want to learn more about Dragon Ball video games, check out my book, Play the Dragon, the History of Dragon Ball Video Games, which covers everything from the Famicom all the way to the PlayStation era. And it includes reviews, retrospectives, and detailed information about all these games. And as an added bonus, if you purchase the physical copy from Amazon, you get the Kindle version for your phone or tablet directly for free. So buy it today. Hey guys, Captain Ryan here, broadcasting all the way for the popcorn rocket here in space. And for awesome video game memories today, we're gonna go back into the streets of rage back on Earth. Enjoy. Welcome to Awesome Video Game Memories, where we talk about awesome memories about video games. I'm Ryan, and the game we're going to talk about today is Streets of Rage! Alright, so what was Sega's answer to Final Fight? Streets of Rage, originally known as Bare Knuckle in Japan, so I kind of assume Sega of America didn't think Bare Knuckle sounded macho enough or extreme enough for the 90s, so they went with Streets of Rage! And judging by all the cafes, all the diners, and the strip clubs, I assume these streets are filled with rage. Because, bare knuckle doesn't really capture that whole rage feel, bare knuckle, bare fist, bare. So Streets of Rage is about three ex-cops, Adam, Blaze, and Axel, who think that they're above the law, like Batman. And they've decided they're gonna clean up the mean streets because we're gonna give up a nice cozy job at the police station with benefits, retirement packages, and paid vacation time. Well, I kinda don't blame them. Probably the paperwork after every case was grueling. And an evil syndicate ruled by Mr. X has taken over the city. And then these three ex-cop vigilantes are here to stop him. So pretty much just like any beat-em-up game in the 90s, you have Blaze, the fast character, Axel, kind of the average character who's not fast or strong, but just in the middle, and then you got Adam, who's the powerhouse, but he's really slow. And personally, all three of these characters are really good to play as. I didn't really decide, there's a character who isn't as good as the other. They're all kind of fun to play as. And as you go down the Streets of Rage, and so you fight a lot of nameless gangsters, up until the next game actually. And even though Adam, Axel, and Blaze are ex-cops, they still got a whole bunch of friends in the police force, and you can use their special to summon a cop car and blow all the enemies away on the streets, at the park, on a boat. So in this city, you can drive a car on boats. That's awesome! Although realistically on the last level, you can't exactly bring your car on the elevator. Oh, come on. It would have been really cool just to have the fucking car just burst out of the elevator door and just shoot everybody. So, let me get this straight. A police car could easily go on a moving boat, but not an office building or an elevator? Yeah, we needed flying cars back in the 90s, folks. And we still don't have flying cars now. So I gotta admit, Streets of Rage on the Genesis is a bit more difficult than most 90s brawlers, because I know most 90s brawlers usually have the enemies surround you, but a lot of those brawlers, they kind of have the enemies just stand there while you're attacking other enemies. But in this game, the enemies always surround you, and they keep attacking when you're attacking other enemies, so you're pretty much surrounded majority of the time, and it's kind of tough to get out of, I gotta admit. Of course, they improved this in the sequel, but what does make this game pretty hard is you're surrounded by thugs at pretty much any given time. which definitely makes the bosses pretty difficult to defeat. Now, most of the bosses are kind of average, tough, but then by the time you start fighting the Blaze clones on the ship, that's when the game starts getting really, really hard. And what sucks is, when you fight these Blaze clones, they're really hard to grab and punch, and you just have to get lucky and hopefully not waste all your continues, because most of the game is pretty difficult at times. And once you get to this point, this is probably where you're going to waste all your continues. Oh, and also what sucks is you gotta fight the Blaze clones again before you fight Mr. X. And of course, just like most 90s fighters, when you punch objects and get power-ups from them, it's actually kind of hilarious. Oh, hey, that trash can has money in it. That trash can has gold bars. I love my barrel barbecue. That was from Final Fight. And probably the only game in the series to actually do this thing is when you get to Mr. X, you can pretty much tell him like, so you want to be Mr. X's underling? Okay. You can say yes and rule the underworld. Yes, I am now the king of the syndicate, and these will now be my streets of rage. But if you say no, Mr. X is a bit of a cheater, and he actually fires a machine gun at you. Yeah, machine guns in a brawling game, yeah, that always goes well. Now, I remember the first time I played this game, I got all the way to Mr. X, and I could not beat him, and I lost all my continues here, but luckily, every Streets of Rage game has a stage select and lives code, which makes life a lot easier. And also, if you use this code, you're not penalized at all for the ending, so you can actually view the best ending even if you use the stage select and lives code, although you need 2 controllers to do it. So you beat Mr. X, you save the city from the Streets of Rage, and it's over! Or is it? Well, obviously, yeah, they're sequels. And one of the best parts of this game is the music by legendary composer Yuzo Koshiro, especially the victory theme. So yeah, Streets of Rage for the Genesis, one of the classic brawlers for the system. Now I do have to admit, this game is very flawed, but it's still a classic, although I do recommend the second one a lot more, trust me. And unlike Final Fight 1 on the Super Nintendo, this game has 2 players, so you can play with a friend, rock out the Yuzo Koshiro's music, and summon your cop buddies to blow everybody away, especially on the boat. So Streets of Rage, one of the classic games for the Genesis. You can get this cartridge pretty cheap on eBay, or you can get it on the virtual consoles for every Nintendo system ever, or you can get it on the various Sega Genesis collections for every system of all time. Alright guys, so that wraps up this episode of Awesome Video Game Memories about Streets of Rage. Awesome! Time to rage it out, dudes! Welcome to Awesome Video Game Memories, where we talk about awesome memories about video games. I'm Ryan, and the game we're going to talk about today is Streets of Rage 2, the best one! Oh man. So what Mega Man 2 was to Mega Man, Streets of Rage 2 is what Streets of Rage 2 is to Streets of Rage, because Streets of Rage 2 is the best one in the series, man! Yeah! And actually, Streets of Rage 2 is the first Streets of Rage game I actually played when it was new. So I remember sometime in 1995, when I was a freshman in high school, my cousin was like, dude, there's a game way better than Final Fight. And I was like, what game could be better than Final Fight, man? And he's like, Streets of Rage 2! You just gotta play this, man! You gotta play it, it's amazing! And holy crap, was he right. I'm sorry, Final Fight, I love you, but Streets of Rage 2 is just amazing. So, Streets of Rage 2 takes place after the defeat of Mr. X, but then Mr. X comes back, and then he tightens his grip on the city even more. And this time they actually kidnap Adam, the powerhouse from the first game, so now we get to play as Blaze, Axel, and then Max the Wrestler, and then Adam's little brother, a kid in the 8th grade. A kid? You're playing as a kid? Cool! So I guess Sega wanted to appeal to their main demographic, kids born in the 80s like me. and a kid with a backwards baseball cap, rollerblades, and he gets to fight thugs on the street where he shouldn't really be. He should be at school doing his homework, but he gets to fight thugs on the street to rescue his brother. Skate is my role model, man. He was my role model as a kid, and he's still my role model now. He's probably a lot older than me, but still, Skate is the coolest kid on the block. So I bet during show and tells, like, the teacher's like, "So Skate, what did you do last week?" "Well, last weekend, my brother got kidnapped. I beat up an evil syndicate with my fists and my rollerblades, and I didn't get hurt at all because I was surrounded by my awesome friends." And all the kids are like, "Skate is the coolest kid in school!" Skate standing up to bullying, real bullying, by gangs and thugs. And if there's one thing that's really improved in Streets of Rage 2, it's the music by legendary composer Yuzo Koshiro. Like, if you thought the music in the first game was great, oh man, the music in the second game, especially from the first stage. And unlike the first game, the thugs actually have names now. Hey, what's up? Y Signal, Galcia. Hey, how's it going? Calm, Wind, Gale. Dude, these guys are like named after wind. Is one guy named Fart? And let me tell you this, Streets of Rage 2 is the most streamable game you could ever play on Twitch, because when you play this game, there's just so much comedy gold that comes out naturally. Like, you're just observing everything in this game and you're like, okay, I am walking down the streets of rage and there's so many diners and cafes. Man, everyone must be so pissed off that they're gonna eat themselves in rage. Oh, look at all these garbage cans and barrels. Holy crap, there's a shit ton of money and gold in there, and food. I love the Streets of Rage. Hey guys, look, it's the original bare knuckle arcade game. Damn this game, bro. Holy crap, there's money and gold inside, and I think I got all the quarters. Well, it looks like these games require gold to play, so you pretty much have to be a millionaire to play bare knuckle in the arcade here. But it's worth every gold bar. And oh man, the stages in this game are amazing. Like, you have, obviously the first beginning stage on the streets, and then you have the amusement park stage. I'm like, whoa, we're fighting in Disneyland with a pirate ship. Yo ho, a pirate's life for me. And there's ninjas inside the pirate ship. All right, pirates versus ninjas in Streets of Rage 2. Can this game get any better? And holy crap, there's an alien exhibit. It's kind of like Space Mountain, right? Oh, wait a minute. Since Fox now owns the Alien franchise, you can actually put an alien ride in Disneyland. I think Streets of Rage 2 predicted the future. Oh, I can't wait for Alien Land in Tomorrowland at Disneyland. Streets of Rage 2 is the greatest. And then you get to go to a baseball stadium? And then there's baseball-wielding enemies? Oh my god, this is so great. There's just so much awesomeness in this game. And then we got some crazy bosses like Blanca Fan. Yeah, Blanca Fan. I think he's in another fighting series. And then you have to fight Tiptoe Boxer Dude. And then there's Rocket Guys. I don't really like fighting these Rocket Guys. They're like super fucking annoying. And luckily the game is a lot easier than the first one. Yes, it's still very tough and you might not be able to make it all the way to the last level even with all your continues, but I did find the game a lot easier to finish than the first one, and the enemies don't surround you as much, which is a good thing. And this time when you make it to Mr. X at the end, he's not asking you to rule his empire with him, well, but he sends his right-hand man to fight you, but luckily he's not too difficult to defeat, and then Mr. X is back with his machine gun, and you have to defeat him more or less the same way you did in the first game. And then once you defeat Mr. X, again, you save the Streets of Rage, and now they're the streets of, Beige! Okay, that was lame, I'm sorry. Oh man, guys, there are not enough good things I could say about Streets of Rage 2, and if I were gonna say them all, I would probably make this like a 4-hour feature review. I mean, the graphics have improved, the stages have improved, the gameplay has improved, the music has improved, and it's still awesome, especially the victory theme. I mean, I just cannot recommend this game enough. Like, holy crap, you have to play this. And it's probably one of the most memorable brawlers on the Genesis. So the original cartridge of Streets of Rage 2 isn't exactly super expensive, and you can get it on the virtual consoles for every system ever, or get it on the various Sega Genesis Mega Collections on every other console ever. Alright guys, so that wraps up Streets of Rage 2 on the Sega Genesis. Alright, it's time to rage some more! Welcome to Awesome Video Game Memories, where we talk about awesome memories about video games. I'm Ryan, and the game we're going to talk about today is Streets of Rage 3. So in many great video game trilogies, the second game usually surpasses the first one, like Mega Man 2. And obviously Streets of Rage 2 surpasses the first one, but sadly usually the third game in the series leaves a lot to be desired. And Streets of Rage 3 is one of the biggest examples of that. So right off the bat, you're gonna notice the music by legendary composer Yuzo Koshiro isn't as good as the previous two games, especially the second game, because the second game had really awesome music. From what I researched online, Yuzo Koshiro wanted to experiment with different types of music, and it didn't exactly turn out that well. I mean, there's no real memorable songs in this game. Well, except the awesome victory theme, which is in every game. So the story of Streets of Rage 3 is the evil Mr. X and the Syndicate are planning to replace city officials with robots. So basically, Streets of Rage 3 is a crossover between Snatcher and Streets of Rage. Why? And one of the robots, Dr. Zan, escapes and fights along with ex-cops, Axel, Blaze, Adam's brother, but you don't really see Adam till the end anyways. Max is nowhere to be seen, so they go back on the Streets of Rage and fight robots and punks. And one thing about this game that I really despise is Sega wanted to put in a lot more environmental hazards in this game. Like, there's parts in the game where you have to hide in the background, like, why? There's freaking holes in the ground. I mean, if you fall in the holes, you lose a lot of energy and not a full life, but still, that's annoying as hell. But you can throw the enemies in there too, which is good. And most annoyingly, in one stage, there's a bulldozer that chases you. I mean, what the hell? Like, how does a human being fight a bulldozer? And I gotta admit, the stages aren't super memorable like the second game. You know, you get the streets, obviously. Although you do get a dance club. And of course, a lot of the enemies from the previous game return, especially those really annoying rocket assholes. And I do gotta say, if you thought the first two games were hard, well, Streets of Rage 3, with all its environmental hazards and really tough enemies, is no doubt the hardest game in the series. It's kind of funny because the Japanese version was a lot easier, and normal in the English version is hard on the Japanese version. Like, why did they want to make this already hard game even harder? And also later on in the game, you can actually recruit Shiva, Mr. X's right-hand man from the second game, Roo the kangaroo. Oi! It's my dingo. Putting a shrimp on the barbie. Cause I'm Roo the kangaroo. Gonna knock your lights out, mate. Yeah. Oh no, they're beating up a kangaroo. This could be considered animal cruelty. I hope PETA has not played this game. Or is it considered animal cruelty if a kangaroo is actually beating up on humans? Well, they're bad humans anyway, so yeah. And the Japanese version, Bare Knuckle 3, actually has a gay guy you can play as, which they removed, which really sucks, but you can actually play as this gay guy in the Steam version. And to pour salt into the wound that is called Streets of Rage 3, the last two levels actually have a time limit! Yes, a freaking time limit! Well, in the second to last stage, you have to rescue the chief of police before he's replaced with his snatcher version of himself, and you have a time limit and you have to fight robots. And I bet back in 1995, unless you had the internet or magazines, you had no idea what to do. Like, I remember the first time I played this game, I was like, what the fuck do I need to do? Because if you actually don't rescue the chief of police in time, you actually will not be able to get to the last level. And in these two levels, you actually fight robots. Yes, robots. Robots in the Streets of Rage game. So you make it to the last level, you fight more robots obviously, and then you fight Mr. X. So is he gonna have a machine gun? Is he gonna be like a Terminator? No, he's a brain in a jar. Holy crap. And then you actually have another time limit in this final battle, and if you don't beat the last boss within this time limit, yeah, you're not gonna see the true ending. And the first time I played this, yeah, I could not beat this final boss in time, which really fucking sucks. Yeah, even with the stage select and lives code, you can still lose this final battle if you don't beat it in time. So, if you beat the final boss in time, Adam rescues you, and that's it. Streets of Rage 3 is over. The end of a mediocre sequel to an otherwise great trilogy. So, I don't know where Sega went wrong with this game. I know they tried to make it more extreme with robots and blah blah blah, but damn, they really dropped the ball in this game. Like, why the fuck did they put robots in Streets of Rage 3? Like, I know Snatcher was popular at the time, but damn, robots! Robots! In a Streets of Rage 3, like, this game is making me go Streets of Rage right now! So, Streets of Rage 3, you can play this on the various Sega Genesis collections, or you can actually play the Steam version, which actually has all the characters, including the gay guy. So it's kind of sad to see the Streets of Rage series end like this on a really mediocre third entry, and I hope Sega considers bringing back the Streets of Rage franchise, updated for modern day on the newest systems. Alright guys, so that ends this episode of awesome video game memories about Streets of Rage 3. It sucks it had to end this way. But Ryan, it's not over yet. Hey everybody, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, especially subscribe, and make sure to click on that notification bell so you know when we release new videos, because YouTube's probably not gonna tell you. And if you want to see me play games live, make sure to follow me at twitch.tv/BattleGeekPlus, and if you have a Twitch Prime account, make sure to subscribe so you can get awesome perks like subscriber badges and much more. And if you want to support us, make sure to support us on patreon.com/Ryan Molina, because every dollar helps me bring you a better show. And also make sure to follow me on Twitter at @ThatRyanMolina and at BattleGeekPlus. And also make sure to check out the official Battle Geek Plus website for a complete listing of our books, merchandise, t-shirts, and a lot more. Alright, thanks for watching this video, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out these other videos right here. Thanks and take care.